Let me paint you a picture. You're streaming a video game. It's a game where you need to be able to see things at quite a distance. Like Escape from Tarkov, you're sniping in the woods, and sometimes there's stuff you can see that your audience, they just can't exactly tell what's going on. Wouldn't it be nice to give your audience a super zoom shot, we'll call it, of what you're seeing on your screen without it affecting or altering your gameplay, but helping them see exactly what's going on? Well, it's pretty easy to set up in OBS. It only takes one plugin, and by the end of it, you'll only need one button to toggle it on and toggle it off. To the point you can do it while you're playing in-game, and I think your audience are going to love it. First and only plugin that you're going to need is the Move Transition plugin by Exeldro. I put a link in the description to download that. And if you don't know how to install plugins, don't worry about it, because I already did a video explaining exactly how to install OBS plugins manually, and it's the best way to do it, so check that out if you're unsure. With that installed and OBS restarted, let's add that filter onto your gameplay scene. Now, we're not putting it on the gameplay source itself, we're going to put it on the gameplay scene and tell it to look for your gameplay source in OBS. So if we right click on gameplay scene, come down to filters, and you can see here I've got two move source filters already set up, but we're going to set these up from scratch. So just right click here, go to add, and head down to move source. If you've installed the Move Transition plugin, this should be there already. I'm going to call this zoom in test. And in the first tab here, you're just going to look for your gameplay source. Mine's already selected because it's the only thing in my test scene, but just find it in here, select it there, and then scroll down to the custom duration. This is at your own discretion, but I think that 1,000 millisecond duration looks quite good once this is all set up. Scrolling down to the easing section, these basically are ways to arch in your zoom and arch it out again. I actually think the cubic one is perfect for this, so I'm not going to change that. And if we come down to this next section, this is pretty important. It's the transform section, and it's basically how we tell the filter what we want to do to the gameplay source. So putting this over here, you can see that our gameplay scene is filling the entire canvas. And if I pause the gameplay just right here, I can kind of see what's going on. I know that the streamer can definitely see what's going on, but it would be nice to be able to see this maybe in a wee bit more detail to see how the shot lands or whatever. So this is our full canvas setup, but what we're going to do is make it bigger. But before we do that, we want to remember how the full canvas is set up beforehand. So right click on the source itself, go up to transform, and copy transform. We're going to use that to basically sort out our zoom out after this. Now you can just start dragging this, making it bigger. And I do think putting in a clip of your own gameplay to kind of figure out what you would want it to look like whenever it's finished is a good shout. And you can see as I zoom in more and more, I'm getting more detail on the screen. I've actually just went back in the clip to keep in some of the details like the rangefinder while still keeping it all zoomed in. Now it's looking good, but I mean, I can see that it's not quite center. So if I just right click on it in here or down here, and I can center the screen, or I can center it horizontally. Now I'm liking that. That's pretty zoomed in, and all I want to do now is click the Get Transform button right here, and it's going to populate that with all the information about how big this is and where it is on the canvas. Now if I scroll down to the very bottom, none of this other stuff's important. It's really just this bottom part here, and I'm going to change next move on to hotkey, and I actually need to make another move source filter before I use next move, because we're going to use another move source to zoom ourselves back out. And once this is all set up, you're only going to be using a single hotkey. So with that set up, I'm going to add in another move source. I'm just going to call this zoom out test. And again, select your gameplay source, put your duration to whatever you want. Bear in mind, you can have a really nice slow zoom in and then a really quick zoom out. It's totally up to you. Just set it up how you like. Scroll down to transform, and we can see that it's holding the details of the zoomed in version. We don't want it to have that. We want it to have the original full canvas shot. So if we right click on gameplay source, and you'll remember we copied the transform earlier on, just click paste transform. It's going to be back to normal, and then click on Get Transform in here, and there you have it. So come down to the bottom here and click on Next Move. In here, click on Zoom In Test and click on Next Move On. Change this to hotkey. Now come back up to Zoom In Test, and we're just going to do the same thing because these are going to loop around each other. So each time you press one hotkey, it's going to toggle one. Press that same one again, it's going to toggle the other. So click on Next Move, and in here, click on the Zoom Out Test. Click Close here, head to Settings, head to Hotkeys, and we come right down to our gameplay scene, and you can see the zoom in test and zoom out test. These are our move source filters that we set up. I'm just going to set these both to mouse 5. You can set it to whatever you want. This might conflict with something in your game, so try and think about it in terms of how you can balance this between your stream and whatever you're playing. I'll hit apply on that, and if I just click on mouse 5, click it again. If I'm about to take a shot, I can just zoom myself in, show everybody what I'm looking at. And once I've taken that sweet shot, boom, beautiful. Chef kiss. That was easy, wasn't it? Anyway, that is the entire video. If you enjoyed it, like it, subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.